If you feel like you're stuck in life and you're doing all the right things, but you're not making forward progress, today I'm going to explain why, but more importantly, how to rewire your mind and get unstuck for good. So here's what's really happening. You are not broken, but your brain is looping on old programming, mostly disempowering, fear, lack, limitation, subconscious programming. So no matter how hard you try, how much work you do, you're only using your 5% of your mind, your conscious mind, going against the subconscious programming, creating internal resistance, a dysregulated nervous system, keeping you stuck. And today I'm going to help you break free from all of that. So let's get started. What I just touched on is the idea of you have a conscious desire. You want better health. You want financial freedom or abundance. You want a thriving relationship or business. So that's 5%, which is great. You have clarity, you have clear goals. However, anytime you come up against and you're creating internal resistance, wanting but not having, that's what keeps you stuck because you're incoherent, you're out of alignment, plus you're creating a dysregulated nervous system. So there's a few things going on here. Number one, we need an identity shift. Number two, you have to understand neuroscience and neuroplasticity on how to rewire your brain. But don't fret, I'm gonna give you all of that. So let's get started. Let's start at the top. I want you to understand neuroscience, and I'm going to give you all of the information you need to understand how your brain works, but more importantly, how you have the capability to rewire it so you get the results you actually want in your life. So what neuroscience teaches us, there's this principle called Hebb's Law, which simply states, nerve cells that fire together, wire together. So here's what this means. Maybe you've heard this before, but beliefs are just thoughts you keep thinking. The thoughts that you think literally create neural circuits in your mind, and the more repetition and consistently you think those thoughts, you are now creating large neural networks. And your brain is just a big mapping machine. So whatever neural networks there are, think about these as like Texas-sized freeways. That's what's going to be running the show. However, you might have neural networks based on lack and not enough and feeling unworthy, which is creating your reality. So now it's like starting in the Amazon jungle. I'm going to help you rewire. So we're now in the Amazon jungle. You have these Texas-sized freeways of thinking and feeling one way that's created your identity. So this is the two pieces. Neuroscience on how to rewire, but identity, how to become that next version of you. So when you're starting fresh, think about it like that. You are in the Amazon jungle with a machete, and we are gonna carve a new pathway. And through repetition and consistency, you go from dirt roads into those Texas-style freeways. And the good news is, when you are no longer focused on those thoughts that aren't serving you, they fall away. They literally dissolve over time because they no longer have the attention and the fuel behind them. So how do you make this practical? How do you apply this to your life? Here's step number one when it comes to neuroplasticity. So let's write this out. Neuroplasticity simply means you have the power to rewire your brain. And through conscious attention. So the first place we're gonna start here is awareness. You have to become aware of those thoughts and beliefs that aren't serving you. So all I want you to do is right now take inventory of your life. Where do you feel stuck? Where don't you have the results that you are seeking? And the big four are health, finances, work, and love. So the first step to creating change in your life is awareness. Why? Because 95% is your subconscious mind running the show. And most people are stuck living life on autopilot, same shit, different day. Why? Because you're not thinking new thoughts. Remember, you're not broken, but your brain is only playing the neural networks that are in it. So that's where we have to start. You have to become aware. What are those thoughts and emotions? And it's both thoughts and emotions. And here's what I like to think about when it comes to your emotions. Think about your emotions as a check engine light. Emotions like feeling worried or sad or depressed or overwhelmed or stressed are going to keep you in those negative loops, getting more of the same, keeping you stuck. However, when you're in higher emotional states, such as confident and you have clarity and you feel empowered and you are grateful, those thinking and feeling loops create totally new pathways and drive new behaviors, giving you wanted results. Now I'm gonna break this down. I know that was a mouthful. And if you're newer to this, let me break this down so you can apply it to your life, because I say this a lot. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Implementation is power. And I want you to be able to take this information that you learned today, but apply it to your life. This is what I call building the mindset muscle. So from here, step number 1 is awareness. Then it's about you have to create a clear aim. No matter where you're currently at in all of those major life buckets, what do you want? Because remember, most of us, 95% is subconscious running the show in autopilot. Most people are living by default. So if you don't have awareness and you don't have a clear aim, you can only keep recreating and repeating from the past. So this is step number 2, get really clear, what do you want? And remember, let go of wherever you're currently at, because your current circumstances and current results are only a reflection of your past thinking and being. So this is step number 2, you need a clear aim. Step number 3 is application. So this is when it comes to being consistent, being intentional. And these are the steps that I teach my coaching clients through. If this is something new to you and you want to fast track where you are to the life you could be living, I invite you to apply for one-on-one coaching and schedule a free call. You can learn more by clicking on the link below or visiting my website, heatherhakes.com. So this is where we have to start. In order to rewire your brain, and now we're gonna get into identity shifting, but in order to rewire, this is where you have to begin. You have to become aware of what's going on in there, what's in the subconscious mind. Then we're going to create a new aim. Remember, that puts us in the Amazon jungle. We're gonna get our machete and create a new path. And then through daily consistent repetition, you will create a new reality by rewiring your mind. So now let's get into the idea of identity shifting, because here's what I want you to know. Your identity creates your reality. I'm gonna say it again. Your identity, who you're showing up as, which is made up of 3 parts. So let's draw this out. You, who you currently are made up of your thoughts, your emotions, and it's your thoughts and your emotions combined that drive your behaviors, your habits, your actions. This is it. This is what we call identity. So in order to create a new reality, you literally have to change your identity. Think about this as reinventing yourself. What I coach my clients through is creating that version 2.0, that next level you. But this is where we have to start. So your identity creates your reality. That literally is it. I'm going to get into some quantum physics today as well, because I love that and it brings it all full circle. But let's just start here. The first place we started was the idea of neuroscience and neuroplasticity, which means your brain can be rewired with 2 components. In your attention, right? Now you have to become aware, plus intention. And this is where consistency and repetition comes in. So now that you have attention, you're becoming aware and you're paying attention. This is called becoming conscious of the unconscious. When you have attention and intention, now you get to get back in the driver's seat of your life and start thinking and feeling how you want in order to create a new future. But it's the identity that's driving the show. And remember, since 95% is unconscious in the subconscious, until you become aware, until you start being intentional and mindful, this runs the show. This is where self-sabotage comes in. So you might be trying and efforting really hard, but then you procrastinate. But you want to lose weight, but you put it off until tomorrow. What's happening is you consciously want change. So let's get into mental programming. 5% is your conscious mind. 95% is your subconscious. So you consciously want better health, financial freedom, a loving relationship, a successful business as an identity, right? Consciously you want change, but 95% is driving the show. And what happens here is it creates internal resistance, or also known as incoherence, and this is where we get into a dysregulated nervous system. If you have any questions about this, please be sure to drop them in the comments so I can further explain this and create more content. But this is where you have to understand all the moving pieces so that you don't stay stuck years on end. I have conversations with individuals all of the time who have been stuck in a certain identity, wanting change, but have been stuck here for years. And this is why they don't understand all the moving parts. So when you have a desire, a goal, a wish, a dream, but your subconscious is not in alignment, it creates incoherence, and now you have a dysregulated nervous system. So let's talk about that. If you have a dysregulated nervous system, think about stress. When you're living in high stress, worry, lack, and fear, those low vibe emotional states, it dysregulates your nervous system. You're living in survival mode. You're living in fight or flight. So no matter what you do, your system, 95%, doesn't believe you are safe. So even though you want change, being stuck and in survival is familiar. And your ego mind craves the familiar. This old identity craves the familiar, even if it's not serving you. That's why you have to understand all of this. So here's the good news. You have the power to regulate a nervous system. Think about this like building a house. You have to have a strong foundation before you worry about the blueprint and the design. You need a strong foundation. The strong foundation for your mind-body connection is your nervous system. How do you regulate your nervous system? Plenty of ways to do this. Breath work, meditation, journaling, walking in nature, anything to bring you back into presence. So that's what I want you to think about. When you have a regulated nervous system, when you are regulated, this is what's called brain and heart coherence. Meaning your mind and body are working together. Your thoughts and emotions are now in alignment, which guess what? Leads to you taking desired actions and moving you in the direction you want to go. But when you're living in stress, when you're living, you don't feel worthy, you don't feel enough, you're insecure, imposter syndrome, you're procrastinating, you're inconsistent, all of that is what creates the dysregulation, and you can't create change on a rocky foundation. So neuroscience, we've covered a little bit. You have the power to rewire your thoughts and emotions, which think of them as the first domino. The next domino is understanding you have to regulate your nervous system. You need that strong foundation. Now this next one is about upgrading or literally shifting your identity. So here's what I want you to do. Right now, pen to paper, I'm literally giving you free coaching. Do this with me. Get really clear on who you've been. What are your current thoughts? Thoughts like, this never works for me, money's hard to come by, there's no good men or women out there, there's 100 applicants, I'll never get the job. Get really clear, what are those disempowering thoughts that you keep thinking? Because you're creating neural networks driving low vibe emotions, driving unwanted behaviors, getting unwanted results. Thoughts are the first domino. So this is when you have to turn the ship around. You get back into the driver's seat. How do you do this? Remember I shared with you in the neuroplasticity part, awareness. Now we're aware of our thoughts and emotional states. So emotions like fear, doubt, worry, stress. All of these low vibe emotions keep you stuck in survival. So no matter what you are doing, the known, your subconscious mind is stuck in this low vibe emotional state. So you can want change forever, but 95% is not in alignment. Then get clear in your actions. Are you procrastinating? Are you inconsistent? Are you comparing yourself to others? And these are the moving parts. Your thoughts, and your emotions create your energetic field, and we live in an energetic universe. So your thoughts and emotions literally emit a frequency. Here's how I like to think about it. Life is a boomerang. What you put out, you get back. So when you're not living intentionally and mindfully, you're living by default in autopilot, creating a weak signal. So remember, when you don't have brain and heart coherence, when you have a dysregulated nervous system, you have a weak Wi-Fi signal. You have static because you're stressed and in survival. When you're emitting static, you're going to keep getting unwanted results. So when you take your power back, when you get really clear on the life you want. So remember, in the neuroplasticity side, we talked about the second step is an aim. What do you want? Now this is about being that version of you, because based on your thoughts, emotions, and actions creates your results. So in order to create a thriving relationship, in order to have financial abundance, in order to be a healthy version of you or have a successful business, we can reverse engineer and understand the dominoes in reality creation. So now let's move into, how do you create this identity shift? How do you go from where you are to that next level of you, to that life you want to be living? So the third thing we talked about in the neuroplasticity side of it was application. And this is what it really comes down to. And I want to share with you one of my frameworks I've put together that literally took me years. So here's what I want you to know. I intellectually understood all of this, but that's why I'm telling you, knowledge alone is not power. It comes down to embody it. Because remember, your identity creates your reality. So how do you now embody this next level of you? How do you embody a different identity? Let's talk about it. Since there's three pieces in play here, creating your results, your thoughts, which fuel your emotions, which drive your behaviors, your actions, and all of these create your results. That's it. This is how reality works. But if you don't know this information, then it doesn't work for you. So how do we create this identity shift? How do you step into the next level you? How do you embody this information, get it out of your head and into your heart? Because when you embody it, now you're thinking and feeling in unison, sending out a clear signal. When you maintain and sustain that, that is how you manifest, and I'm putting this in quotes, that's how you manifest experiences. So law of attraction, it's kind of on point. You are, quote, attracting, but it's really about your frequency that you emit resonates with like frequencies, and that is what you get more of in your life. So if you're thinking and feeling and you're focused on what's not working, you're only going to get more of what's not working. Life is simply a mirror. So now let's step into the embodiment piece of this, and this is where I'm going to bring in my framework that's literally called Embody. Okay, so when it comes to identity shifting, it's not fake it till you make it. You have to embody this identity of you until you experience those things that you want. The lover, the money, the health, the success. You have to embody it, because remember, you emit frequency and you draw back like frequencies. Life is a reflection of your mental, emotional body. That's literally it. So we're not busy trying to change out there, because you're wasting your time. You can't change the external when it's only a reflection of the internal. So let's bring in my embody framework on how you can embody this next level of you. The big one here I'm going to talk about today is 3 of them. So this one is about match the frequency. And I just shared that with you. So for example, when you want something, you want a relationship, you want money. Wanting implies you don't have. Wanting is repelling the thing you want. We live in an energetic universe. Like attracts like. So you can't want, you have to already have it. But this is not fake it till you make it. Neville Goddard taught this as law of assumption. You have to assume that reality is already yours. He also taught you have to live from the end, not thinking of your desire, but living from it. Why? This is how you match the frequency. Let's say you're currently broke or barely getting by, but you assume the identity of somebody who has financial freedom, somebody who is financially abundant. You would be empowered, you would feel relief, and you would be grateful. And when you embody those thoughts and emotions, and that's what you're emitting, that is how synchronicity, resources, opportunities come to you to create financial freedom. So your job is to match the frequency. That is your job through nervous system regulation, through brain and heart coherence, so mind and body working together, because now you have alignment. Your nervous system is regulated. You're no longer living in fear and survival, so you have a clear signal, and now you're sending out a clear intention. That's how you resonate your frequency with your desire. The next one is you have to own the identity. And here's where most people trip up. You might be able to do this for a 30-minute meditation. You might be able to hold this for an hour. But if you fall into default, into autopilot, the other 15 hours of your day, that's how you stay stuck, because you might want change, but then you doubt it. You might want whatever, but now you're looking for evidence, which means you don't believe it. You have to maintain and sustain this elevated frequency, and so you have to own the identity. Again, it's not fake it till you make it, it's embody it till you experience it. And this is where a lot of successful people create an alter ego. This is what I offer for you to do. By creating an alter ego, Kobe Bryant did this. He called it the Mamba mentality. Beyonce did it. She called it Sasha Fierce. Think about Clark Kent became Superman. My clients have done this as well. If you create an alter ego, you step in and now you're thinking, feeling, and acting as that person consistently and maintaining the identity. Boom, that's how you create quantum leaps. Finally, the big one here, you don't do this one day. You don't go to the gym one time and do bicep curls and you're set for life. This is that consistency and repetition. So what I'm writing down here is integrate daily. This has to become a new lifestyle. This becomes who you are, because you don't attract what you want in life, you attract who you are being. And as you continue to show up and you build your mindset muscle, and you do this through repetition and consistency, you have become this new identity. You have become this next level of you. You've maintained this frequency, and life becomes an amazing ride and adventure. This is your natural state. When we fall into autopilot, living by default in survival, it's simply a misuse of your mental emotional state. When you become conscious and aware, and you're living in alignment, thoughts and emotions, and you're taking aligned actions, and this just becomes who you are, you step into being a conscious creator of your reality. Thanks for tuning in to today's video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you're the first to know when new videos drop, and give me a thumbs up. I'll catch you on the next one.